Hello everyone! This group will be presenting the role of IoT in business and accounting. I am Dean Carlo R. Mendoza and I will be presenting you regarding the first topic. However, before we go into the roles of IoT in business and accounting, let's first go into what an IoT is. Now, I'm sure that if you are part of Sir Jason's classes, then I'm sure that you would remember what an IoT is. An IoT is more or less called an Internet of Things. And an IoT refers to a network of everyday objects connected to the internet using small, low-cost sensors and processors. These smart devices can communicate and share data automatically, making homes and businesses more connected and efficient. Now, I'm sure that you have definitely seen this or at least remember this from our subject ITAP. Yes, you do remember this from our subject ITAB, in which case we talk about smart cars, smart sensors, we talk about interconnected traffic. For example, the lights in traffic, the lights that goes red, yellow, and then green automatically. Yes, we also talk about smart cars, we talk about wearable devices, of course, the medical devices, medical watches in which people use to know what their heartbeat are, to know what their glucose levels are, and such and so on. Now, you're gonna think, why are we talking about ITAP? I think that we've definitely discussed about this. Why are we talking about IoT again? Well, we're talking about IoT because we are interconnecting it with AIS. Yes, just like what the title said, we are talking about the roles of Internet of Things in business and accountancy. Now, you may think that ITAB is a standalone subject. However, no, you are wrong. Why? Simple. Because of the fact that you can definitely put it in businesses and accounting. And we, this group right here, will show you if you were to continue watching this video. Now, let's go to the three roles of IoT in business and accounting. We will first be talking about inventory tracking. Next, we will be talking about fixed asset management. Last but not the least, we will talking about the real-time reporting in AIS. Yes, now these are more or less the three general roles of Internet of Things in business and accounting. And I will be representing the inventory tracking. Now, in inventory tracking, we more or less have this. Internet of Things or IoT and inventory tracking uses connected devices like RFID tags, sensors, and GPS trackers to monitor and manage inventory in real time. This technology helps businesses track the location, status, and business management of items across the supply chain. We have 5 examples to give you. We have real-time tracking and location. We have automated replenishment. We have automated data collection. We have warehouse and logistics optimization. And last but not the least, we have the RFID tags. Now, from these 5 examples that are given to you, you may think, oh, I think I can have a general idea on what most of these examples are. For example, when we talk about real-time tracking and location, you may think, ah, yes, of course, that's the GPS. You can definitely use that in businesses. Automated replenishment. When you buy something or when you use something in your inventory, you more or less need to replenish it. You need to buy more. In which case, you could have automated replenishment to buy more inventory so that you could get track with your inventory and such and so on. Automated data collection. You could know how many inventory you would need, how many items you would need, or supplies you would need to continue to have that or maintain that inventory level that you would want. And then we have warehouse and logistics optimization, in which case you may think, ah, yes, of course, there are definitely some Internet of Things items in which case could help in warehouse and logistic optimization. Well, you may have a general idea on what those are, and we are here to help you understand what they could be. Now, I'm pretty sure that for the common people, you may not understand what an RFID tag is. An RFID tag is more or less called the radio frequency identification tag. Now, okay, you may not have any idea what it means just from the name itself. However, I am here to help you. Now, I am asking you here a question. Have you been to a mall? I'm pretty sure that everyone here who is watching more or less has gone to Olfu Laguna. Yes, and since I am in the accountancy course, I'm pretty sure that most of the people watching here have been in the third building of Olpu Laguna. In which case, I am asking you here a question. Have you used the elevator in Olpu Laguna? If you have, then I'm pretty sure that you have seen that box that has a computer in it, that has a monitor in it. Yes? Right next to the elevator, there is a there is a red box in which case has buttons. And then right next to the red box that has buttons, there is a glass panel that has a monitor on top of it. And then there's this tweaky little gadgets at the bottom. Yes? And then there's a hard drive like thing and at the bottom, in which case it says RFID tag. Yes, RFID tags are commonplace in the business industry. No matter what kind of business it is. Why? Simple, because it is definitely quite helpful. Now that RFID tag near the elevator in the third building of Olpu is more or less used for staffs to check in or to clock in their time by using their IDs. Yes, RFID tags can be in their IDs, just like in the example seen in the slide right now. Yes, you can see that there is definitely an ID tag or a ID pocket tag that is right about there. Now, you can definitely understand how RFIDs can be used to clock in into into work. However, how could it be used in inventory tracking? Simple. It can be used in inventory tracking by more or less pasting it into a box of your inventory and then having a sensor, in which case you just need to find where your inventory. For example, I have a sensor. For example, I would have a sensor right now. For example, I'm holding one and then I need to find a specific item, and then you just need to go closer on where it is, and then you could find out where your item is. That's where you could use the RFID tags. You could know where the item you are trying to find is. Now, I'm sure that you have definitely gone to malls, yes? SM. And in malls, we more or less have this tall glass wall, small wall. Okay, there's a small wall in SM, in which case, for example, have you gone to SM Laguna? In which case, in Uniqlo, there's this many individual walls of glass, and you may think, oh, why is it standing here? That just seems like a bother. Yes. Well, those are not bothers. Those are more or less sensors to know if you are stealing an item or not. Yes, those are more or less anti-stealing devices, in which case it's definitely helpful to make sure that your inventory isn't being stolen. Yes, RFID tags are quite commonplace and most people are ignorant about it. That's the amazing part of technology. You may know, you may not recognize something that is just near you. You may have gone to the elevator in Opu, but you may not recognize the RFID scanner. You may have gone to SM, but you may not recognize that there are also RFID tags hidden in there. Now, you may ask me, Dean, okay, how could they know? How could these sensors know that that someone is stealing an object? Simple, because these RFID tags are not barcodes. It doesn't need to be right in your palm to right in the sensor to make sure that it is there. It's more or less a frequency. Yes, just like what the name says, radio frequency identification. It just needs to be in the vicinity of the sensor for it to recognize that, oh, there's an item right here. Now, where is it hiding? For example, Uniqlo, Okay, there's definitely anti-theft devices, the wall, yes, the small wall glass. Those are anti-theft devices, just like I have said. Now you may ask, okay, Dean, Where are they hiding? The where are they hiding the RFIDs? Simple. They are hiding it in the tags themselves. It is not the barcodes. It is inside of the tags themselves. In which case, they hide the RFID. Now, you may see a picture of an animal that has a little tag on it, like a triangle thing. Yes, that's an ear tag, and it's not just for design. It is to know where your livestock are, to make sure that they do not get lost in your barn, and such and so on. Now, in these pictures that I am here to show you, you can see the logistic dashboards. Yes, by using IoT, Internet of Things, you can definitely use a dashboard, or you can have a device in which case you can see, oh, so this is how many deliveries there are to be made today. This says how many deliveries have been made, how many deliveries have yet to be made, and how many deliveries there needs to be in a day. Yes, this is the amazing part of technology, of IoT, Internet of Things. It can show you how many deliveries or how many services you need to make today, just like it says here on the logistic dashboards. Now you may see a picture on the bottom right. You may see the pictures of a square that says dock, and then up the top it says capture. And yes, it goes to artificial intelligence, it goes to structured data, and then it goes to validation. That more or less that more or less gives you the idea of what automated data collection are. Okay, for example, it scans RFIDs and then it captures it, gives it to AI. In which case, after that, it more or less um, puts it in a structured data. That raw data becomes data in which you can actually read. It becomes files, it becomes excels, .jsons, it becomes .docs, .csv, and such and so on. Now you may think, oh, okay, if it's all automated, then what's the point of human labor? Simple, because machines also make mistakes. That's why we also have the validation stage, to know if the data that are given to you are right or wrong. Now, thank you for listening to my part, and let us now go to Neil, Carlo, Antonio, which will be talking about fixed asset management. Thank you for listening, and let's move on.
Hello. Now, although Mr. Mendoza has already introduced me, I'll just introduce myself just to be sure. I am Neil Carlo Antonio, and my portion of the presentation I'll be covering how IoT plays a role in fixed asset management. Now, how did IoT exactly plays a role in it? Well, a big part of organizations that's changed because of IoT is by enabling organizations to switch to a different maintenance strategies. What am I talking about? Well, there's let's talk about two types of maintenance strategies. The first one being reactive maintenance, which by definition is by where your equipment and machineries are being run until failure or until they malfunction. That's the only time you'll be able to address it and try to fix the problems. Now, the second maintenance strategies is predictive maintenance. Now, what is it? Well, the good thing about predictive maintenance is that it is being enabled by IoT or Internet of Things. How? By implementing real-time IoT enabled sensors. Now, what do these sensors do? Well, these sensors will be able to detect what parts of the machine that is being malfunctioning or running into problems. Now, if you compare these two, one is clearly better than the other. Why? And why is it predictive maintenance? Well, number one, Predictive maintenance is amazing because it just gives you more time to react. How? Because those sensors, they give you an early notification. They notify the users or employees of what parts of the machine or equipment is malfunctioning. It's great, it's amazing, you get more time to react. Now, what exactly are the other benefits of it except from more, yeah, being able to react faster? Well, the other one is you're practically reducing your overall maintenance cost. How? Well, before, reactive maintenance again is you're running the machine until failure. By that time, the machine could worsen because the machine might be on fire, which can worsen, or its erosion, which can probably infect the other parts of it. But meanwhile, predictive maintenance, whereas differentiates it from reactive, is because predictive maintenance basically gives you more time to react before the situation gets worse, which is amazing and can save the organization a lot of money. Now, the other benefit of it is the reduced amount of unplanned downtime. How? Well, because in reactive maintenance, you're still trying to find which sensors or which parts are malfunctioning or broken. Meanwhile, predictive maintenance shows exactly which parts of the machines is having a problem. I'll give an example on the next slide though. But lastly, the other benefit from switching to predictive maintenance from reactive maintenance is it improves the overall useful life of your machines or equipment. Why? Because again, you're reducing the amount of time the problem can worsen, which can really help keep the machines healthy and more useful. Well, now that we've finished the definitions of those two maintenance, let's try to give an example of predictive maintenance and how exactly it works. So as you can see on the screen, it says sensor 4 is malfunctioning. That is a sensor that's been installed in that equipment or machine. By knowing this, just by seeing this text, it already tells you which sensor is malfunctioning, as it says, which really gives you more control over the situation. Why? Because you know exactly what parts that you need to dismantle or fix. And by that, these are one of the few benefits, or many benefits, many benefits of IoT and how it helps in fixed asset management. One of the few things is these types of sensors notifying employees or users of the problems with equipment or machines. Now, let's move on to another way on how IoT has affected fixed asset management. But it's basically the same thing as the last point, which is the predictive maintenance. But instead of machineries or equipment, these sensors are used for general safety in case of an accident or a fire or a flood. These are called smart sensors. Now, what do these smart sensors do compared to normal sensors like fire alarms? For as you can see on the screen, it is a fire alarm. But that's not just a normal fire alarm. It's a fire alarm that's been enabled by IoT. It's a smart sensor. Now, what difference does it make when using this kind of fire alarm compared to a regular one? Well, these kinds of fire alarms have a special feature where, since they are enabled by IoT, they can be connected by Wi-Fi, which can give a lot more data in a shorter amount of time, and it's much more present than other sensors or cameras. But that's not the only thing. This fire alarm can also send a notification via email or SMS to employees, users, and others of a accident or a fire. Now, that makes things much easier since the range of the alarm is much bigger than a normal one. But that's not the only thing that this fire alarm can do. Some fire alarms have the feature of when they detect a fire, they will automatically contact local fire departments, which is great. It reduces your reaction time by a lot since it it does the contacting of fire departments for you instead of having to go somewhere safe then contact a fire department. Lastly but not the least, as you can see on the bottom of the screen, it is a camera, but it's not just a normal camera. It is a smart camera. Why? You can tell that it has a lot of different things compared to a normal camera. Number one, as you can see, there's a box. It says forklift, then a smaller box that's called a hard hat. Now, these points are great because these cameras or smart cameras, these cameras are again enabled by IoT or Internet of Things. These cameras can do much more than a regular camera. Wow, how and why? Well, these smart cameras often comes with other types of surveillance like a infrared or night vision. But aside from that, these smart cameras can detect things and identify them. Since it already shows that forklift or hard hat, it's great. It can identify these things to help the organization. How and why? Well, by being able to detect these things, but it gives them a greater control on where and how they are moved. Now, another point is they can track these things, and then whenever they aren't able to track it anymore, they can contact security that there's been an unauthorized movement of equipment or goods. Lastly, as you can see, it says hard hat, it's in green. Um, these smart cameras can also detect people and what they're wearing. These features can also help organizations in enforcing safety protocols. It also helps people or the employees or other users in identifying whenever someone gets injured or gets in an accident. It can help identify them and notify either security or personnel depending on the situation. Also, these smart cameras also come with other nice features. It can also detect things like flooding or erosion of equipment, which is a great bonus and again can be used for a predictive maintenance. Well, that's all for my portion of the presentation. The next set of slides will be about real time reporting in AIS or Accounting Information System, which will be reported by another group member of ours, which is Mr. Christopher Angel Atienza.
Thank you for the introduction, Neil. Once again, I am Christopher Angelo F. Atienza, and I will be reporting the real-time reporting in Accounting Information System. First, let us define what is real-time reporting. Real-time reporting refers to the continuous or near instantaneous collection, processing, and presentation of financial and operational data within an accounting information system. So what are the benefits? The benefits are improved data accuracy, enhanced decision making, real-time data collection, automation of financial transactions, enhanced fraud detection, and strengthened security. Now here's the question. How does the IoT or Internet of Things enhances the Accounting Information System or AIS with real-time data? IoT devices, sensors, RFID tags, smart meters, and etc. generate large volume of operational data that can be automatically integrated into an accounting information system platform. This connection enables automated data capture, continuous monitoring of assets, real-time revenue and expense tracking, and lastly, improved internal controls. Let me again state the meaning of the last terms. RFID stands for Radio Frequency Identification. POS, which stands for Point of Sale System, is a combination of hardware and software used by the business to process transactions. It facilitates the purchase of goods or services by recording sales, accepting payments, and providing receipts. Next, we have the ERP systems. ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. It's an integrated software application that manages the company's core business processes by providing a single source of truth for data, improving efficiency. Next, we have the GPS and telematic devices. GPS, which stands for Global Positioning System, provides location data, but on the other hand, telematics devices gather a broader range of information, including vehicle diagnostics and drive behavior, and in addition to the location. Next, we have IoT-enabled manufacturing equipment. IoT enables manufacturing equipment to be smart, which allows it to connect to the internet and allows the machines to work more efficiently and effectively. In the next slide, we are gonna be discussing the examples of IoT devices. In the first picture above in the upper left corner, we have example of RFID devices. First, we have the paper tag. It's a basic, um, let's say, for example, you are writing down a note and posting it to a object. You are just naming that object. Second, we have the electronic product code. It is a unique identifier, often encoded in RFID tags, used to identify physical objects in supply chains and in logistics. Next, we have the inlay tag. It is like an RFID tag, but they can only contain the chip and antenna and are often in smaller sizes. Next, we have button tags. These are often seen in boutiques and department stores, which is used in products like jeans and etc. to keep track. Next, we have the metal tag. These are durable, usually metallic, and used in identification labels or marker used to attach information to an object, asset, or a person. Next, we have a glue tag. These are often stick. These are usually used to stick in objects that are usually needed. Like, let's say, for an example, a glue tag is used to mark in property of a person, like a sticker with your name on it. Next, we have a key tag. These are often the labels used in keys, like where does this key is used, or etc. Next, we have the glass tube tag. Glass RFID tags can be embedded into custom housings and mounted on virtually any surface, metal, plastic, wood, paper, and water, making them ideal for tracking assets such as tools, equipment, pharmaceuticals, production inventory, metallic kegs, or gas cylinders. Next, we have the ear tags. These are often seen on animals like cows, bulls, which are often to use as identification. When is the expected time of harvest. When I mean harvest is like gathering of milk of the cow or gathering the meat of the cow. Next, we have the ceramic tag. It is a type of radio frequency identification tag that utilizes the ceramic substrate for its antenna and chip. Next, we have the disc tag, a small coin-shaped RFID transponder used to identify and tracking on non-metal surfaces. Next, we have the pocket tag. It is an embedded inlays are difficult to remove from the garment. In the next slide, we are going to discuss our references. I would like to acknowledge first Bevis R from 2023, 7 examples of IoT and everyday life, CBT nuggets. Next, what is IoT Internet of Things from AWS, Amazon.com. Next, we have Sapra Y, 2024, IoT and accounting from spreadsheets to smart system, the IoT evolution, #Studios Technologies. Next, we have the application for Internet Things of IoT in Business, 2024, Tulane University School of Science and Engineering. Next, IoT in Asset Management, how businesses can benefit from Cognitech. Lastly, we have Rigid Digital as 2024 IoT and Inventory Management, the ultimate guide in the IoT powered management by Digital. Lastly, I would like to reintroduce our group members. First, we have Neil Carlo Antonio and me, it's Franjo Atienza. And lastly, we have Dean Carlo Mendoza.